What if the secret to becoming a disciplined trader was hidden in a 3,000-year-old Bible story about a man who never even died? Most traders think the breakthrough comes from the next indicator, the next strategy, or the next hot stock. But the story of Enoch in the book of Genesis reveals something far more powerful. Transformation doesn't come from chasing outcomes. It comes from learning how to walk differently every single day. And if you're willing to take that walk, it might not only change your trading, it might change your entire life. Enoch walked with God. Then he was no more because God took him. The book of Genesis. Today's topic centers on the mysterious story often described as the death of Enoch, though the Bible actually tells us something even more extraordinary. The story appears in the book of Genesis 5:21-24. where Enoch is listed among the generations between Adam and Noah. Yet unlike every other person in that genealogy, whose life ends with the phrase, "and he died," Enoch's story breaks the pattern in a way that has fascinated readers for thousands of years. Enoch lived during a time when humanity was expanding across the earth. According to Genesis, he lived 65 years and then became the father of Methuselah. After that moment, the text shifts and tells us something remarkable. Enoch walked with God. This phrase is simple but powerful. It suggests that Enoch's life was defined not by status, wealth, or conquest, but by a daily relationship with God. His life became a steady journey of alignment where his decisions, values, and direction were guided by a deeper connection with the divine. For 300 years after the birth of his son, Enoch continued walking with God. In the long genealogies of Genesis, most lives are summarized by numbers: years lived, children born, and the inevitable end. But Enoch's life is remembered differently. His story emphasizes relationship over chronology. It invites readers to imagine a person whose ordinary days were shaped by extraordinary faithfulness, someone who chose closeness with God in a world that was beginning to drift toward corruption. Then comes the moment that makes Enoch's story unique. Instead of saying, "and he died," Genesis records something startling. Enoch walked with God. Then he was no more because God took him. The text suggests that Enoch did not experience death in a usual way. Rather than his life ending through decay or tragedy, God simply brought him into his presence. It is one of the earliest biblical glimpses of a life so aligned with God that the boundary between earth and heaven seems to dissolve. This moment transforms the meaning of Enoch's story. His life becomes a symbol of what happens when a person lives in deep spiritual connection. In a genealogy filled with endings, Enoch represents continuity. His story whispers that intimacy with God changes the trajectory of life itself. Where others face the ordinary cycle of birth and death, Enoch's relationship with God led to something different, an entrance into divine presence without the finality that marked everyone else. Enoch's story also serves as a quiet contrast to the world around him. Genesis soon describes a generation growing increasingly violent and corrupt, leading toward the flood in Noah's time. Yet in the middle of that declining environment, Enoch shows that one person's faithfulness can still shine. His life suggests that transformation does not require a perfect world. It begins with a person choosing to walk differently even when the culture moves in another another direction. Ultimately, the story of Enoch is less about how he left the earth and more about how he lived while he was here. His legacy is not defined by a dramatic death, but by a consistent walk. In a passage filled with endings, Enoch's story stands as a reminder that a life rooted in faith, integrity, and closeness with God can transcend ordinary limits. The text leaves us with a powerful invitation to consider what it might mean for our own lives if we too chose to walk each day in deeper alignment with God. The story of Enoch in the book of Genesis is surprisingly powerful when viewed through the lenses of trading psychology. Enoch's life was defined by a simple phrase: he walked with God. That phrase describes consistency, alignment, and quiet discipline over a long period of time. Those same qualities sit at the center of successful trading. The story exposes many of the pain points traders face, but it also points towards a transformational mindset that allows someone to move differently from the crowd. When we begin reflecting on Enoch's walk, we immediately confront one of the most common trading pain points: the obsession with outcomes rather than process. The Bible doesn't focus on Enoch's achievements, his wealth, or his accomplishments. Instead, it focuses on the consistency of his walk. Many traders do the opposite. They become fixated on the size of the win, the profit target, or the screenshot they want to post. That focus pulls them away from the real edge, executing a disciplined process every single day. And once outcomes become the focus, another challenge quietly emerges: impatience with time. Enoch walked with God for 300 years. That story highlights endurance, not speed. Trading culture, however, often glorifies overnight success and instant wealth. When traders expect fast results, they abandon strategies prematurely, switch systems constantly, and overtrade. The market rewards those who can stay aligned with a method long enough to let probabilities unfold. Yet impatience often reveals something deeper beneath the surface: emotional instability during uncertainty. Walking implies steady movement, even when the destination is not immediately visible. Many traders struggle here because markets constantly introduce ambiguity. A trade can move against you before it moves in your favor. Without emotional stability, traders react impulsively, cutting winners early, holding losers too long, or chasing entries that don't meet their criteria. And when emotions take over, traders frequently fall into another painful trap: the pressure to imitate the crowd instead of maintaining their own path. Enoch's story suggests a person moving differently from the culture around him. Successful traders must do the same thing. The majority of market participants are reacting to fear, hype, and headline. When traders allow social media, chat rooms, or public sentiment to dictate their decisions, they drift away from their own trading framework. And once a trader begins following the crowd, a subtle shift often occurs: loss of alignment with personal values and discipline. Walking with God implied that Enoch's direction was guided by something higher than momentary impulses. In trading, discipline functions the same way. Rules, stop losses, position sizings, confirmation criteria, they all act as guardrails. But when traders ignore these guardrails, even a good strategy can collapse under the weight of inconsistent execution. And that breakdown of discipline usually reveals another hidden pain point: ego-driven decision-making. Enoch's story emphasizes humility and relationship rather than personal glory. In trading, ego often pushes traders to prove they are right instead of protecting capital. Traders hold losing positions because they want validation. They add to trades emotionally because they want redemption. Ego turns the market into a battleground rather than a probability game, which leads to the final transformation the story points toward: the power of consistent alignment over dramatic movements. Enoch's story is quiet, simple, and steady. Yet it stands out in a long genealogy because his life moved differently. Well, trading works the same way. The most successful traders rarely rely on dramatic wins or heroic trades. Instead, they build success through disciplined alignment with their process every single day. Just like Enoch's walk, the real edge is not found in a single moment. It is found in the direction you choose to follow consistently. There is a powerful invitation hidden in the story of Enoch in the book of Genesis. An invitation not just to believe, but to walk. Enoch's life reminds us that transformation does not happen in a single dramatic moment. It happens through a steady walk with God. Trading, like faith, is a journey that reveals our fears, our discipline, and our character. Imagine what it would look like if we approached the markets the same way Enoch approached life. Not rushing, not striving to prove ourselves, but walking daily with wisdom, patience, and divine guidance. Many people enter trading searching for quick profits, but what they often discover is something deeper. The market exposes the heart. It reveals impatience, fear, ego, and scarcity thinking. But when we invite God into the journey, trading becomes more than a financial pursuit. It becomes a process of growth. Instead of reacting emotionally to every candle, we begin learning to move with clarity, calm, and trust. Walking with God also reminds us that we were never meant to navigate life or the markets alone. Too many traders sit behind screens in isolation, carrying the weight of every decision by themselves. But growth accelerates when we walk together. Community brings accountability. It brings wisdom and encouragement when the journey becomes difficult. Just like the early believers gathered to strengthen one another, traders grow stronger when they are surrounded by people committed to discipline and purpose. As we continue this journey, something remarkable begins to happen. The same patience that strengthens our faith begins strengthening our trading. The same humility that deepens our relationship with God protects us from ego-driven decisions in the market. And the same discipline that shapes a faithful life becomes the discipline that protects our capital. What started as a financial journey slowly becomes a spiritual and personal transformation. This is why we created a space where faith and trading can grow side by side. It is a place where we learn to develop both skill and character, where conversations go beyond charts and indicators to focus on mindset, discipline, and purpose. When traders begin aligning their strategy with wisdom and their mindset with faith, something powerful unfolds. Clarity replaces chaos. If this message resonates with you, we invite you to take the next step on the journey. Download our free Bible trading study guide and begin exploring the powerful stories and principles that shape both faith and discipline. Then come walk with us in our free trading community, where we are learning together how to grow as traders and as people of purpose. The path forward does not require perfection. It simply requires the willingness to walk. Just like Enoch, transformation happens one step at a time. If you're ready to walk with God while developing your trading mindset, join us. The links to download the free Trading Bible Study Guide and join our free community are in the description. And we would be honored to take this journey together. If this resonated with you, I invite you to comment, like, subscribe, and share this with someone who could benefit from hearing it. Every time we pass knowledge forward, we help build stronger minds, stronger homes, and stronger futures for our families. You've got this. Peace and blessings. Dr. L.